for you to be a part of this Marvel world, that's like when you hang out with family, do they just go, wow, look, you're Marvel?
I don't think anyone gives a shit except for like my nephew who's like 6. I mean, honestly, I don't think anyone's too impressed with me.
Marisa Tomei has long enchanted audiences with her dynamic performances and timeless beauty. But beyond the silver screen, she's also intrigued fans with her personal choices, particularly her decision to remain unmarried. Despite high-profile relationships with stars like Robert Downey Jr. and Logan Marshall-Green, Tomei has consistently expressed her reservations about traditional institutions. In a 2009 interview, she candidly stated, "I'm not that big a fan of marriage as an institution, and I don't know why women need to have children to be seen as complete human beings." A career-first philosophy. Marisa Tomei's devotion to her craft has often taken precedence over traditional milestones like marriage and children. From her breakout role in My Cousin Vinny, which won her an Academy Award, to more recent critically acclaimed performances in The Wrestler and Spider-Man: No Way Home, Tomei has built a career defined by versatility and longevity. She's never slowed down to follow a path someone else set for her. In interviews over the years, she has suggested that marriage might have pulled focus from what she truly loved. Her passion for acting, travel, and personal growth seemed to leave little space for the kind of long-term domestic commitment that many expect from women. In the Hollywood landscape, where actresses are often judged by their family lives as much as their work, Tomei's refusal to conform has made her stand out. She's worked steadily since the 80s, choosing roles that challenge her and reflect a wide emotional range, from romantic comedy to heavy drama. Rather than viewing marriage as a necessity, Tomei has said she simply never saw it as essential to her happiness. She's been quoted saying her ambitions were never centered around finding a husband or starting a traditional family, and this clarity helped shape the course of her life. For Tomei, staying single wasn't a decision made out of bitterness or fear. It was an honest expression of what she values most.
My parents really loved the theater, and I grew up here in Brooklyn, and my parents would always take us to the theater here, and I think seeing how happy it made them, I think probably I wanted to make them that happy. Sure. So it was also infectious. I was seeing those shows and even when I was very little, I had a number of my little birthday parties would be at the Heights Players out in Brooklyn, and you could have your little birthday party. You could see a play, like a kids show, and then have your birthday party on the stage.
Breaking the mold on motherhood. Marisa's opinions on motherhood have been just as direct as her thoughts on marriage. In a world where women are often expected to find fulfillment through raising children, Tomei has publicly questioned that assumption. She's never had children, and by her own words, that was never a deep desire. While many celebrities eventually feel pressure to settle down or are asked repeatedly about starting families, Tomei has always given the same answer: it's not for her. This consistent honesty has helped challenge the conventional expectations often placed on women in and outside of Hollywood. Instead of becoming a mother, Tomei has chosen to pour her energy into her work, relationships, and causes that matter to her. A history of high-profile romances. While Marisa may not believe in marriage, that doesn't mean she's avoided romance. Over the years, she's been linked to several well-known actors, including Robert Downey Jr., Dana Ashbrook, and Logan Marshall-Green. Each relationship brought a flurry of public attention, but none ended in the traditional way the media often expected. No engagements, no wedding plans, and certainly no walk down the aisle. Her most talked about relationship was likely with Logan Marshall-Green, with whom she was involved for several years in the 2000s. Rumors swirled about a possible engagement, but Tomei never confirmed anything. Close sources often said she remained clear on her stance. She didn't feel the need to get married, even if the relationship was serious. Her connection with Robert Downey Jr., who was her co-star in Only You, also drew headlines, though it didn't lead to anything long-term. What makes her dating life so different is how she's approached it without apology. In a culture that rushes to measure a woman's worth by the longevity or outcome of her relationships, she's kept her boundaries firm. Pushing back against expectations.
You're back in New York. You grew up here. You also are a great parallel parker. Oh, yes, I am.
An excellent. If
wish
we
we
had
had
a
some
car
cars.
here,
You and me.
You and me,
and
babe.
me.
I'll take you there.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you almost don't have. We're all going to look. We want to be safe, but you almost don't have to. You're so good,
Yeah,
right?
you gotta
just
feel. Yeah,
drop
I don't
it
use
in.
the camera at all. The
No,
camera kind of
that's
messes
cheating.
me up. Actually, I gotta use, and I also do like a big, like I got a
Oh, yeah.
hike.
Oh, yeah.
I do a hike, but you know, I can make it into some very tight spots.
Marisa Tomei's resistance to traditional expectations isn't just personal, it's part of a broader cultural pushback she represents. Hollywood has long presented a narrow vision of what a woman's life should look like. For decades, actresses were expected to get married, have children, and then quietly step back from the spotlight. Tomei never followed that script. She's been open about her frustration with the pressure women face to conform. In her view, the idea that a woman's purpose is tied to being a wife or mother is outdated. She has often pointed out how the media asks women about their biological clocks or marital status in interviews, questions rarely asked of their male counterparts. She has called out that double standard in subtle and not so subtle ways throughout her career. Her choices have become part of a larger cultural conversation about autonomy, gender roles, and what fulfillment looks like for women. Without ever branding herself as an activist, Tomei has become a quiet symbol of independence. She reminds her fans that being single and child-free isn't a failure or a phase, it's a valid, fulfilling way to live. Public reactions and misconceptions. Marisa's choices have sparked a mix of admiration and confusion from the public. While many fans praise her independence and honesty, others continue to question her decisions, often framing her single life as incomplete or temporary. Over the years, gossip outlets have speculated on whether she might still change her mind or settle down one day, as if her current life were just a placeholder. These assumptions often ignore the clarity with which Tomei has spoken about her path. She hasn't ruled out relationships, but she has repeatedly explained that marriage simply doesn't align with her priorities. The press and public, though, sometimes resist this narrative. For some, it's easier to imagine that a woman must want marriage deep down, rather than accept that some women truly don't. Tomei's ability to stay grounded despite this public pressure has made her stand out. Rather than trying to control how she's perceived, she lets her work speak for itself. Her personal life remains hers to define, even as others try to fit her into a box. The role of family in personal fulfillment. While she's never married or had children of her own, Marisa remains deeply connected to her family. She's spoken about how meaningful her relationships are with her parents and extended relatives, and how much joy she finds in being an aunt. Her definition of family has always been broader and more personal than the traditional model. Tomei finds fulfillment in everyday experiences, travel, artistic collaboration, and the freedom to shape her life without compromise. She's often said that her work as an actress and the relationships she has built throughout her life provide the emotional richness that others may seek in more conventional setups. For her, fulfillment is not about fitting a mold, it's about feeling fully alive, fully engaged, and fully herself. This self-awareness has helped her avoid the regrets or second-guessing that sometimes come with bucking tradition. Why the marriage question still follows her. Despite years of consistent answers, the question of marriage still follows Marisa Tomei. Interviewers often bring it up, and headlines continue to frame her as someone who never married, as if it were a missed opportunity rather than a conscious choice. Even in an age when more women are speaking openly about alternative life paths, Tomei is still seen as a bit of an outlier. Part of that may be the image she projects: romantic, stylish, feminine, and deeply expressive. To some, these traits seem at odds with a woman who would opt out of a traditional family life. But Tomei's choices remind us that identity isn't fixed to one formula. A woman can be nurturing without being a mother, fulfilled without a spouse, and glamorous without playing a supportive role in someone else's story. The persistence of the marriage question says less about Tomei and more about how society continues to treat single women in the spotlight. For many, the idea that a woman could choose to remain unmarried, not from heartbreak or loss, but from confidence and self-knowledge, still feels unusual. Now it's time to hear from you. What's your favorite Marisa Tomei role? Let us know in the comments section below.